going to pass the mic over to Michael Lavalette when we get the stand in place. Michael is a Respect Councillor in Preston and was re-elected this year, so I'll just try and get this on the mic.
Stand. I'm not nearly as disciplined as Sam. I throw my arms all over the place and it would have been away. You'd never heard the word I've said. First of all, before I start, I want to make a personal statement, really. And she's not in the room today, but some of you might know a very great friend of mine, Karen Evans, and she's going through a very severe illness at the moment. And if you know Karen and you're around about her, please let her know that I was asking for her tonight and hope she gets over her illness as soon as possible. That's my personal statement gone. Now I can go on to the topic of the meeting. You know, the last time that I shared a platform with George Galloway, he said it was a huge sacrifice for him because Manchester United were playing in the European Champions League that night. And I feel as if I'm repaying the honour tonight because my heart, to be honest with you, is 250 miles away in Glasgow. George has promised me when he gets the text updates of the football scores from Celtic Park, he will let me know what's going on. Tonight is a really important meeting in Manchester, and it's a fantastic turnout. And I think, you know, when I was coming down in the car thinking about what I was going to say this evening, I thought about all the things that Respect had been involved with and all the things that we had done in the last 4 years. Salma has alluded to some of that, but it's less than 4 years since Respect was founded. And in that time, Respect has become a household political label. There are many people up and down the country who know about Respect in a way which is really quite astonishing for an organisation, for a coalition like Respect, which is as new as Respect is. So that's the first thing just to say, is that we can take for granted the fact that we're here and the fact that we've built this organisation in that 4-year period. And then I thought about it in terms of where I come from in Preston. And even in Preston, the kind of campaigns that we have been involved in that city. I've been a councillor for 4 years, and not just myself, but the people in Respect in Preston, we have managed to put motions through council about Palestine and twinning with Palestine. We had an assault on our local hospital and we managed to push a motion through council. I'm the only Respect councillor in Preston, but we managed to get a motion through Preston City Council opposing the imposition of Netcare, a South African multinational, into our National Health Service. I'm the only, as I said, I'm the only Respect councillor, and yet we managed to get a motion through Preston City Council which opposes academies in Preston. I know you have academies in Manchester. I know they have academies that are coming to Birmingham. They're proposing to have academies in Preston. And academies, when they first brought it in, was a bit of a culture shock for me because I went to an academy. But in Scotland, an academy means something quite different to what an academy means down here. Because when we dug around, we found out that what the academy is going to mean in Preston is that our local school, the school that my daughter goes to, because it is the local education authority run comprehensive, is going to be taken over and run by the Carphone warehouse. Now, if you want to go and get a phone, I'm sure you want to go to the Carphone warehouse would be one of your options. But to go to the Carphone warehouse school, because what they know about education, I'm sure, can be written in the back of a postage stamp, except that actually what it means is that they will have complete authority over and control over the teaching conditions, the wages of the teachers, even the curriculum. And it means that if they wanted to, for example, bring in lessons on call centre practice, because they have also opened a call centre in Preston, then there is absolutely nothing that the local education authority can do about it, and there's nothing that we can do as democratically elected representatives. That's why people get absolutely cynical about what Labour stands for. That's why they get cynical about what the Lib Dems and the Tories go on about. They don't accept what the main political parties go on about, and therefore what people are looking for is a genuine alternative. And I think over the last 4 years, in Tower Hamlets and Newham, in Birmingham and Preston and Bolsover, we have started to flesh that out and started to create an alternative, and I think Respect continues to be that alternative. We have shown and we are starting to push ourselves forward. It's what we call community shop stewards. Whatever your issue is locally, whether you have got a problem with your bins, whether you've got a problem with rats, whether you've got a problem with your housing, whether you've got a problem with your schools, it doesn't matter what the problem is. We were elected by you, and we will take it up. We'll take it up in the papers, we'll take it up in the council chambers, because you elected us and we are there to represent you. That's what we are there for, and that is what we will continue to do. And you know, it's not just those local issues, it's not just as national issues, it's the continuing international issues, where the government refused to go by what ordinary people want. The vast majority of this country now want troops out of Iraq. You would have thought that Brown had brought the troops out of Iraq. It has disappeared from the newspapers. And yet British troops are still there, we're still part of the occupation, we're still part of the problem, and we're not the solution in any shape or form. As Brown is pulling those few troops out, he's sending them to Afghanistan, the forgotten war. We've been in Afghanistan for years, and yet they still don't talk about it. And they continue to say that this is a war that they're conducting in our interest. And we continue to say it's a war that is not in my name. Those issues of war, of welfare, of local representation, of filling the democratic deficit, that is exactly what Respect is all about. It makes me immensely proud that I'm in a platform tonight with George Galloway. You know, George Galloway gave me one of those moments. When I was younger at school, people used to say, "Where were you when Kennedy was shot?" And I used to say, "I've no idea, probably my swings." I was just that bit too young. But I'll tell you, if anybody asks me where was I when George went to Washington, I know exactly where I was. And that night, not only did I know where I was earlier on that day, I also worked out in Sky how to press the repeat button and the red star so that I could watch it over and over and over and over again. It was one of the great moments of the last 4 years, and it made me proud to be in Respect in that way. I'm delighted and proud to be on a platform with Salma Jacob, because Salma has given and had a national profile. She's been on Question Time. The last time she came to Question Time in Preston, we made sure that we got people there in the audience, making sure that there was hopefully the right kind of questions that we could be answering, because we felt that night we had something very, very important to say. And I'm absolutely proud to be on the same platform as Karen Reisman, because Karen has shown that through the trade unions we can fight and we can stand together. And that really is what Respect is about. Respect is a coalition of all these people from all these different backgrounds, and for the last 4 years we have taken it forward in a way which you haven't seen in the post-war period. Salma said it was the post-war 60 years. Actually, I was reading a book today by Phil Pratin. Phil Pratin, the Communist MP that represented part of the constituency that George now represents. He was elected in 1945 at the same time as Willie Gallagher was elected, who represented a constituency just south of where George was born and brought up. George is the continuity between Phil Pratin and Willie Gallagher and the continuing movement for the left today. And so it seems to me that that's how we've got to continue and how we go forward today. You know, there is a lot of debate and Respect at this point in time. I think that is a consequence of the success that we've had. Some things over the last few weeks have been said in exceptionally heated terms, to put it mildly. But nevertheless, my hope is that we can all be together, we can all move forward together. Respect is a wonderful organisation which is better for having George Galloway and people like George Galloway in it. They're having people like Salma Jacob and people like Salma Jacob in it, and people like Karen Reisman and those like Karen Reisman in it, and I hope people like Michael Lavalette and Michael Lavalette in it. Together we can go forward and we can offer a real alternative at the ballot box which is based on the name of Respect.